I never thought the first time I'd be cuffed on my own porch, it would be by men in fake badges and a woman with a clipboard like she was holding a scepter. But there I was, Mark Ryland, former chief of police, hands behind my back, staring at the smug face of Karen Van Fleet, president of a homeowners association that didn't exist. And all because my grass was a quarter-inch too high. 3 weeks earlier, I'd moved into this quiet street, under a canopy of old oaks, chasing silence after 20 years in the Force 15 with SWAT, 5 as chief. The house smelled of fresh paint and new beginnings. Boxes stacked like monuments to a life I was finally leaving behind. One said kitchen. Another, scrawled in my late wife's handwriting, old files, burn. I smiled. She always knew how to cut through the weight. This place was my reward, my retreat. No sirens, no blood on the pavement, just birdsong and the promise of peace. For 3 weeks, it was perfect. Then came the red paper. Tucked under my truck's wiper blade, a violation notice. My lawn violated Section 4, Paragraph B of the Oak Street Community Covenants. A 50 fine. Signed by Karen Van Fleet, HOA president. I looked at my lawn. It looked fine. I looked at my neighbors. Same height, same green. But I knew that look, the kind of power that isn't earned, just taken, the kind that feeds on fear. The next day, 2 notices. One for the grass. One for my trash can being visible past pickup time. 75. Total, 125. She wasn't just issuing fines, she was testing me. By the 3rd day, the language changed. Immediate compliance. Legal action pending. Lien on property. It was boilerplate intimidation designed to scare people into silence. I remembered my grandpa's words. A pocket tyrant is just a small man with a loud voice. Pull the weed before it chokes the garden. So I went to the county clerk's office. Marble floors, dusty air, the smell of truth buried in bureaucracy. I asked for the incorporation papers for the Oak Street HOA. There were none. No filings, no covenants, no legal standing. Not for that name, not for any variation. The subdivision was zoned single family in the 70s, no HOA ever registered. The clerk handed me 2 certified letters. No such organization exists in county records. It was a weapon. Quiet, official, unbreakable. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because I knew Karen Van Fleet wouldn't stop. She'd just change the name, move to another street, find new victims. So I set a trap. I called my lieutenant, Danny Reyes, sharp, calm, the kind of cop who could quote penal code in her sleep. Danny, I said, run a quiet check on Karen Van Fleet. Priors, finances, associates, off the books. You found a weed in your garden, didn't you? She asked. I'm going to need a shovel, I said, and a body bag for the roots. That night, my house became a command center. Cameras, microphones, a ring on my finger that, with 2 taps, would send a live feed of audio and video to Danny and Alert Boone, my most solid officer, to move in. I wasn't just defending my home. I was building a case. The next morning, a dark SUV pulled up. 2 men in fake police uniforms stepped out, wrong crests, wrong belts, wrong everything. Cops move with purpose. These guys moved like actors. Behind them, Karen Van Fleet emerged, clipboard in hand, eyes sharp with triumph. They pounded on my door. I opened it with the look of a confused citizen. Mark Ryland, you're under arrest for criminal defiance of community bylaws. I took the warrant. Fake seal. Fake judge. Legal nonsense. This seems extreme for a lawn, I said. Karen stepped forward. You were warned. Now, are you going to comply? Or do we do this the hard way? I raised my hands. Comply, I said. They cuffed me. Too tight. Too rough. I smiled at Karen. She snapped. Wipe that grin off your face. Across the street, Duke raised his phone. Next door, the young mom filmed from behind her blinds. They didn't know it, but they were witnesses. As they led me to the SUV, I stumbled, leaned against the bumper. My cuffed hands pressed a GPS tracker to the undercarriage. Tagged. Inside the vehicle, the 2 goons laughed. We got him. He folded like a cheap suit. They didn't know I was leading them straight into a net. As the SUV turned onto the Industrial Park Road, my team moved. A construction van slowed ahead. A black sedan boxed us in from behind. Boone's truck slid in beside us. Then brakes. Tires screeched. We stopped. Doors flew open. Tactical units flooded in real gear. Real weapons. Real authority. Police, hands on the dash. Boone stood at the driver's window, weapon drawn. "Let me see your hands, now." The fake cops froze. I stepped out, cuffs removed, surrounded by my officers. The photo would later go viral. Me, smiling between two real cops, the sun breaking through the clouds. Inside the SUV, they found everything. Red violation notices, a binder with target lists my house circled in red, a lockbox with fake badges, and 50 in cash, each bundle labeled with an address. And a burner phone. Last call. K-Boss. Text message. "Is it done? Is the trash taken out?" That one sentence changed everything. This wasn't just fraud. This was a criminal enterprise. We found her storage unit, Unit 218. Inside, a full operation, desks, filing cabinets, commercial printer, files on every house on Oak Street and others, Willow Creek, Pine Ridge Estates, Maple Lane. She had multiple fake HOAs, shell LLCs, forged documents, fake court orders, and a ledger. One file. An 80-year-old woman, threatened with foreclosure over rose bushes. She sold her home, moved to a retirement facility. Karen called her a soft target. Danny's voice was cold. She preyed on the vulnerable, used their fear of losing their homes as a weapon. We had it all. The money, the tools, the victims, and a board meeting scheduled for that night in her garage. So we didn't knock. We raided it. Unmarked cars, officers in the shadows. I stood with Boone in Duke's backyard, listening through a directional mic. Karen was mid-rant. He was supposed to be a simple matter. Now he's gone, and so are my men. I opened the garage door. "Police, nobody move." Her two board members froze. Karen flipped the podium and bolted. Boone cut her off. She screamed, "I'm the HOA president. I have rights." I cuffed her myself. "Karen Van Fleet," I said, "you're under arrest for extortion, fraud, racketeering, impersonating a police officer, and forgery of a government seal." The second cuff clicked. "You can tell it to the judge." Outside, the street lit up with flashing lights. Neighbors watched from their porches. The Queen was in chains. A month later, I sat on my porch with coffee. Duke waved from his mower. Kids played. The air was light. Karen Van Fleet got 15 years in federal prison. 250, zero seized. Restitution paid. Fake liens voided. 2 copycat HOAs in nearby towns were dismantled the same week. At the station, we use one of her fake badges in training now. "See this?" I tell the rookies. "This isn't a badge. It's a lie. A real badge isn't worn, it's earned. It's trust. It's proof." My grandpa's photo sits on my mantle. He believed in order, but not the kind built on fear. "Rules serve people," he used to say. Not the other way around. I look out at the street. No more red papers. No more whispers. Just peace. The kind you don't hide behind. The kind you fight for. And keep